Sugar, a simple carbohydrate, holds a powerful sway over our taste buds and brains. When consumed, sugar encounters specialized taste receptors on our tongues. These receptors detect sugar molecules and send signals to our brain. The signals target the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine, the pleasure molecule. This creates a sense of pleasure, motivating us to seek more sugar. Dopamine, a crucial neurotransmitter, plays a pivotal role in the brain's reward system, influencing motivation, pleasure, and addiction. It acts as a chemical messenger, transmitting signals between neurons along specific pathways. When we engage in activities that promote survival or provide pleasure, such as eating or sex, the reward pathway is activated, leading to a surge of dopamine. This dopamine rush creates a feeling of euphoria, reinforcing the behavior and encouraging us to repeat it. While many substances and activities can trigger dopamine release, some, like drugs of abuse, hijack this system, leading to addiction. Sugar, although not as potent as illicit drugs, shares some similarities in its effects on the brain's reward pathway. When we consume sugar, the rapid increase in blood glucose levels triggers a surge of dopamine in the brain, particularly in areas associated with reward and pleasure. This dopamine rush reinforces the desire to consume more sugar, leading to a cycle of cravings and consumption. Over time, the brain can become increasingly reliant on these sugar-induced dopamine surges. Regular and excessive sugar consumption can lead to changes in the brain's reward system, similar to those observed in drug addiction. When we repeatedly expose our brains to high levels of dopamine, triggered by frequent sugar intake, it adapts to this overstimulation. This adaptation often involves reducing the number of dopamine receptors or decreasing their sensitivity. Consequently, we require increasingly larger amounts of sugar to achieve the same level of pleasure and reward that we once experienced with smaller amounts. This phenomenon, known as tolerance, is a hallmark of addiction. As tolerance develops, the absence of sugar can lead to withdrawal symptoms such as cravings, fatigue, and mood swings, further perpetuating the cycle of sugar dependence. The brain, accustomed to the regular influx of dopamine triggered by sugar, interprets the drop in dopamine levels as a signal that something is wrong. This triggers cravings, driving us to seek out and consume more sugar to restore the dopamine balance. Section 4, an evolutionary perspective from survival to excess. From an evolutionary perspective, our innate preference for sweet taste was once a survival mechanism. In the distant past, when food was scarce, our ancestors relied on their senses to identify calorie-rich sources of nourishment. Sweetness, often indicative of ripe fruits and honey, signaled a valuable source of energy. This preference for sweetness, hardwired into our brains over millennia, ensured our survival in times of scarcity. However, in today's modern environment, where sugary foods are readily available and abundant, this once beneficial adaptation has become a liability. Our brains, still programmed to seek out and reward us for consuming sugar, are ill-equipped to handle the constant bombardment of hyper-palatable, sugar-laden foods. This mismatch between our evolutionary programming and our modern food environment has contributed to the current global health crisis of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and other diet-related diseases. Section 5. Striking a balance. Managing sugar intake for a healthier life. Maintaining a balanced diet and managing sugar intake are crucial for mitigating the negative health impacts of excessive sugar consumption. By reducing our reliance on sugar, we can break free from cravings and overconsumption. Here are some practical tips for managing your sugar intake. First, read food labels carefully. Be mindful of added sugars in processed foods. Second, opt for whole, unprocessed foods. Focus on fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. Third, stay hydrated. Drinking water can help curb sugar cravings. Fourth, practice mindful eating. Pay attention to your food choices and savor the flavors. And finally, seek support. Seek guidance from a dietitian or healthcare professional. By making conscious choices, we can regain control over our relationship with sugar and pave the way for a healthier life.